Ah yes, one of the most iconic cameras in human history. Today we are checking out the Hasselblad 500 CM. And I'm not totally new to this camera. I owned one before, many years ago, and I wish I never sold that one. But you might be wondering, why am I making this episode? Well, that's because I'm creating a small series where I test out 4 different medium format cameras to see which one fits my style of shooting and my workflow really. But also if medium format is still something that I really enjoy. So to start it off, the Hasselblad 500 CM. More on the camera in a bit. Let's get into it. Welcome to a new episode of Frames. Yes, I said that I owned one before, but I totally forgot how to load this one up, and I really wanted to make sure I did it right. From all the cameras in this series, I think the Hasselblad is the most difficult to load, but I think when you get the hang of it, you'll be fine. First shot had to be a self-portrait. Don't tell me you wouldn't. After that I drove to a beautiful part in the Netherlands, here in the south, to catch some landscapes. You have no idea how cold it was here.
I'm shooting this at f11 at 1/500th of a second, and I'm doing this with my mic because otherwise you will only hear the wind. Portra 800, but I rated at 400, that's why.
So, after those shots, I went to my father-in-law to get a cup of coffee before heading to my next location. I took a couple of frames there too.
Okay, I need to be quick before this light is gone. So I'm going to take the photos and then I will make some shots.
Oh yeah, got to love square format. A lot of people might think it's limiting, but I think it's just beautiful. So the location where I'm heading to is really nostalgic to me. It's the old camping where me and my older brother went to on our vacations. My grandparents had their own caravan there, and man, do I have a lot of great memories. Maybe even the most precious ones from my whole childhood. Things have changed over time though, and it's also not the season, so it's empty. But there will always be parts that stay the same, and I try to take photos of those things. The water was also pretty high, which is maybe normal for this part of the season. But in the summer we had a whole beach to play around. And that pier was a lot higher too. This tree has been there my whole life, which are 21 years. And my grandfather would be posted up there, fishing for hours and keeping an eye on us. When we grew up a little, he would take us with him on that pier. Funny how, as a kid, everything looks way bigger. This house is also one of those things that always stayed the same. The light was also pretty beautiful at that time. Look at that sky, isn't that just like a painting? Man, I was lucky with this weather. I think that I got some great shots there. But the next part is where I went with Xenia to a forest to have breakfast, but also to take portraits to see how that feels on the Hasselblad. But before we continue, I want to thank Fotohandel Delfshaven for collaborating with me on this project to find my perfect medium format camera. They didn't pay me to say anything, but they did lend me all of the cameras in this series. I bought my black Leica M6 there, and I think this is the perfect store to do it. It's completely dedicated to film cameras, and I just love stepping into there. Everything gets checked and serviced by their own technical department before it arrives on the shelves. And these guys are not sales driven, they would rather provide you with a cheaper camera that really fits your needs. They give advice and search for the best option for each customer. And with that comes their rental department, because you can easily try out a camera before buying it. And this is also nice for those photographers who need something but don't want to buy a camera for just one time. Fotohandel Delfshaven also works together with a lab, so after your rental you can just leave your film there for it to be developed and scanned. And I know that they have some beautiful Hasselblads at their place. This lens goes so wide open, it's amazing. With medium format cameras you see a lot of lenses that don't go wider than, let's say, 3.5 or even f4, and this one goes all the way to 2.8. which is really wide for medium format.
How should I pose?
Well, the light was incredible for sure. That soft light with that fog is just crazy. But I just can't get over that square format and how shallow it is at f2.8. This is so good for portraits on location.
Een foto van mij maken?
Ik een foto van jou?
Ja.
It's always so funny to see people with a waist finder for the first time. It's of course inverted and people get so confused. For this camera they also have a prism that you can take up to your eye. Might be interesting if you do a lot of portrait work.
Hoi.
It was cold, the restaurant has opened, so we went for breakfast. After that we went back into the forest for some last portraits.
Going to say goodbye to this beautiful camera, but we still have a couple of shots left, so I'm gonna shoot some portraits in the studio because Xene is working in the studio right now, and after that we will bring the camera back and pick up something new. Sad to see it leave.
This is her old studio and you might have already seen the new studio in a previous episode. Yeah, this series has been in the making for some time. So yeah, my conclusion about the Hasselblad is that it is just an amazing camera. I can see why this has been the workhorse for pros for a very long time. I think you do have to love the 6x6 format though. Otherwise I would definitely recommend a 6x7. Of course you can crop it too if you're into that. It's fully mechanical and I like that a lot. But that also means that you have to carry a light meter with you. This camera is amazing for portraits and I might want to check it out in the studio too because it has leaf shutters in those Carl Zeiss lenses. Which means that you can use flash at any shutter speed. It's not the cheapest, but it's also not the most expensive one. For a kit, you'll pay around 1500, but make sure that you buy one that is serviced, because the pricing of servicing a Hasselblad could get really expensive. I've got a weak spot for this camera. I just think that it looks amazing, feels great when using it, and it's not the biggest of them all. But I've got some others to check out, so stay tuned for those. Can you guess which ones they are? For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Peace!